If you're keeping track, this one is episode 11. We're going to talk about daylight saving time, cats, and whatever else we feel like on this episode of
Scooch Ovaries!
Scooch Over.
Hey, can you scooch over?
You want me to scooch over?
Just a little bit. Scooch.
Scooch?
Scooch.
Scooch. Scooch Ovaries! Robin, the question of the day is it daylight saving time or daylight savings time?
I always thought it was savings time, but I could definitely be wrong. I am Midwest, and we put S's on everything.
Like what? What do you put S's on?
Walmarts, Kmart's, Aldi's. It's stuff that doesn't need an S. We just put an S.
We put a the in front of stuff too. I think you do that too.
Yeah, the Walmarts. It's going to go... It's going to go to
All
the
of
Kmart's.
You're going to go to all... Well, good luck going to the Kmart's. Because they are not here anymore.
There's probably a few Kmart's left, maybe, or are they all gone?
I don't know, the two that I knew of in my neighborhood here and in Ellington that we had, gone.
Okay.
Replaced by much better things. Yeah, one became a Target or a Publix, I don't know, on 75th Street. No one needs this information. The other one, though, is an At Home, which is my new favorite store.
Oh.
At Home's great. There's like a whole aisle of just pillows.
I thought some of the Kmart's became the Sears, and then Sears went out of business.
Oh, yeah, Sears is really gone now.
Yeah.
I'm worried that we're going to lose Macy's completely, but, you know, I'm old. I'll be fine. I'll find another way. I could just keep going to the thrift stores and find the Macy's clothes. Well, these are not things that we thought we would talk about.
Nope, we've already gotten way off topic, way off the subject.
We are gone again, but I do know for a fact from watching Veep religiously that it is daylight saving time.
Okay.
Because it's an hour and we're saving time. I don't remember the exact why, but Ken made it very clear on Veep that it was saving time because Jonah kept saying savings. And Ken was getting very annoyed because Ken likes to be right and proper.
If I remember correctly, Jonah ends up basically being the president of the United States because he did something about daylight saving time.
He failed upward a lot, but didn't make it to president. At the end, I think he ended up being vice president at the very, very end.
Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I've watched it. I thought he made it up to president.
He really went far in his congressional career because he brought up the let's get rid of daylight savings time thing, and they kept saying it's saving.
That's right.
And then he, got a hold of a couple other things, and he got some sponsors behind him that were horrible and evil, and then he did fail upward for a bit to the point where he even got to the convention. But, Selena Meyer did become president in the final episodes. She did finally make it.
Okay.
But she had to sell her soul in every way she could, including throwing Gary under the bus. But if you haven't watched it in a while,
I forgot it. That was heartbreaking.
Start all over again. It was all about the Dubonnet lipstick. But I got to tell you, I started watching it again because I kept finding the parallels about things that are happening now, and I thought it was really funny that it was similar. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus is really killing it right now, interviewing people and doing stuff and just getting out there. And she has a podcast.
She does. It's called Words of Wisdom or Wise Words.
I think it's Wise Words, but she interviews ladies who are older than her.
I think the threshold is either 70 or 80 to be interviewed. It's a very good podcast.
It's brilliant and it's needed. And it was not in either of our top 3. So we are failing upward.
We are.
We're not failing upward. We're failing laterally.
I really like Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I think she's a good actress and she's smart and she's showing herself to be a very good podcast host as well, too.
And a cancer survivor.
Oh, that's right. Well, in real life, in IRL, as the kids would say, there is supposed to be a daylight savings time no more. That's what we were talking about before. I know that there was a big vote, and we voted, at least in Florida, but I don't know that it's going to be happening anytime soon.
That was one of my favorite sentences. Could you say that again? Daylight saving time no more.
Daylight saving time no more.
That's similar to a title of a book from your favorite author. What's the name of that book?
Oh, Me Talk Pretty One Day.
Yes. I feel like, what? Put the words in a different order. Yeah. Daylight saving time, I think, is going away. your daughter is informing you on this, that it's going away.
Yes, because I get to be like grumpy and I'm like, I thought we took a vote on this and we voted not to have it anymore and they're still doing it. And I thought my daughter at one point had said, oh, the vote went through, but it's going to be in 3 years. So I'm thinking we're not going to turn our clocks back in November. I guess we'll see.
Well, November 4th, I don't know. Look, I'm trying to Google it because that's the word I use. So let's find out.
But is that for all of Florida or is that for all of America?
Well, I was going to say in Florida, we also voted to make it so that felons could vote again. But the governor said, all right, but they're going to have to pay all the court fees. So we can vote all day.
Yeah.
They find ways around things sometimes.
Yeah.
And daylight saving time seems to be something that people really like to get bothered about. I've got a Google question here that says, our clocks... No, the answer is, we will be falling back on November 3rd, 2024.
Okay.
And then it says, here in the Indy Star is a newspaper. And according to that paper, they're doing it again. And I don't know, it's ending. Look, if you come into this podcast for information, once again, we will share with you, not a teaching situation, not a learning opportunity.
And if you don't live in the state of Florida, it's even more useless.
Well, I feel like it was going to go away. So why is it not like the first thing that comes up when you click on stuff?
And then I had also heard that the savings time shouldn't be the one that goes away. It should be the standard time that stays. So I did hear an argument of, oh, yes, we passed the bill, so it's daylight savings time is always going to be the time that we use. And then there were some sleep experts, shows you how much I pay attention to the words in my ear. They were like, oh, it should be standard time because the savings time kind of puts everyone, discombobulates them a little bit. But the standard time, but I think the argument for the standard time is little kids are going to have to be at the bus stop when it's just pitch dark outside. I don't think anybody wants that.
Let's just cancel school at this point. Didn't we want to get rid of the Department of Education anyway? Oh, wait, no, that's just one of the political candidates. We're going to maybe cut it out? No, we're leaving it in. We're edgy.
We're edgy like that.
I'm going to read this to you. Mm-hmm. Did daylight savings bill pass? Well, they got the S in there.
They got the S. How can you even credit it?
It's great. Passed by the Senate on March 15th, 2022, the bill makes daylight saving time the new permanent standard time effective November 5th, 2023. States with areas exempt from daylight saving time may choose the standard time for those areas. That doesn't answer the question.
It doesn't.
Is Florida going to continue to honor daylight saving time is the question. So give the people some interesting facts while I Google that.
One set of my parents, as we've established, I have two sets of parents.
Just two,
live in Arizona, and Arizona doesn't change time. And that's, I mean, it's good for Arizona, but it's kind of bad when you want to call them and you're like, oh gosh, what time of the year is it? Is it 2 hours? Is it 3 hours? But we live in the world of Google, so I usually just Google, hey, what time is it in Arizona? So sometimes it's 3 hours different, sometimes it's 2 hours different.
That's complicated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's riveting information.
I thought you could hold down the fort for a minute and a half, Robin.
All the people are listening. They're like, hey, we didn't know this was going to be a controversial podcast.
Yeah. So here's a funny thing. I wrote in our notes when we were starting to talk about the topics for this particular episode, and I wrote DSL, and then
DST.
What did I write? I wrote DST, and not 10 minutes later, I looked at the page and said, "What's that?" And that's not even. What is that?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, DSL seems to be one that is written a lot in the different internet pages I'm hitting now, and I feel like DSL is like a word we used for like your internet cord when you plugged it in a direct line. Do you have a DSL?
DSL, at least when my kids were little, was kind of like an upgraded Game Boy. No, that was a DS. It was like an upgraded Game Boy, and it was like a little pocket thing, and they bloop, bloop, bloop. They would play games during it. So,
yeah, I don't have an answer on. I didn't do my research, and do due diligence on when the actual thing is ending. So we're going to go with whatever Katie said. That sounds good.
If she
Next
can't,
year.
if she can't back it up, I always thought it was this year, but you know what? I always liked this type of year when we went backwards because you get that extra time. Like you get to sleep in on that Sunday. I never liked the other one. And I think there's people the opposite who like the March one. But I always like in general, I like fall better though.
Fuck those people.
Yeah.
My response every time. Fuck that guy.
Who do they think they are?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not affected by a lot of it because my sleep is so weird lately. Mm-hmm. But it's always plentiful. That's the thing with me. I slept till like 11 o'clock yesterday.
Oh, that's good though.
Just because I could.
That's good. My dad always says if you sleep a lot, that's your body saying it needs sleep.
Look, we can rationalize that with anything. If you're hungry, it's because you need food.
Yeah.
My favorite one, though, is if you're thirsty or dehydrated. I'm like, oh my God, A plus B equals C. But they say it's too late.
Oh, I've heard that. If you're thirsty, then it's just way too late.
Well, then just lay down because you're done. What's going to happen?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you're more than dehydrated. What's more than dehydrated?
You're thirsty. That's what you are.
Yeah, you're fucking thirsty.
Yeah.
Have a drink. I don't know. I find that so funny. If you're thirsty, it's too late. I'm like, oh no. Like, I always get nervous when I hear things like that. Because once in a while I'm thirsty, I'm thinking, oh, I better get my affairs in order. I'm kind of thirsty.
Her life was going great. And then all of a sudden she was thirsty. That's it. That's a wrap. I got thirsty, guys.
Oh, we've covered a lot in this episode.
Have we?
I'm going to put it on a t-shirt one day.
I'm thirsty?
Nope, because that would be a different kind of meaning if I wore that on a shirt. People would be
That's
like,
true. That's true. The kids
Yeah.
today, thirsty is like sexy.
well, it's wanting to be having sexy times, I think.
Oh, okay. So
being
that's like a
sexy.
thirst trap. It's like if you put like a sexy picture on the internet, you're putting a thirst trap.
Well, it's good our demographic is, guys in their 20s who live in California, which, by the way, if you buy an ad on Instagram, tell them the demographics you want. Don't just let them choose. Because apparently they think Scooch Ovaries is something the kids want to listen to in California, preferably males, who are all like, what the fuck is this, basically?
And just decided to talk about it on the internet.
Yeah, but being thirsty means you want to get with somebody, and being a thirst trap is when you put like bait out there, like, ooh, maybe I'll get people. And it's just weird the way we use words now. So many words that used to mean something else. Like they said, oh, well, she ate. I'm like, yeah, I don't miss a meal. Nope, that's not what they meant. No, oh, she ate. Like she successfully triumphed in that situation. That's what they say. Like, oh, she ate.
Okay. You know what I've also heard as like a diss, like an insult, is when people say, that's a try hard. I'm like, I think you're supposed to try hard. You're not.
That's a tryhard is an insult?
Yeah. If someone is like, when I say someone, I mean like someone under the age of 24. They're like, that person, they're such a try hard. Oh, you mean they're responsible and working? Yeah, maybe we should all be tryhards. This is me being a crotchety old lady.
Just gonna pull you back out of Karen Town. Because your old man raising his fist and shaking it at the clouds.
Where's my billfold?
Your kids get off my lawn. Which is funny because what I do is I scream at the guy, because when we're trying to record a podcast, sometimes the fellas come and they want to work on the grass outside. They do some landscaping. And I'm basically sitting there screaming, you guys get off my lawn, because I don't want them to mow it. It's not like bad kids playing on my grass. It's like men doing their job for the day. But how often do you have to mow like a piece of dirt? There's not a lot of grass out there.
I feel that this is an egregious amount of mowing. I've been here on a Saturday and they've mowed, and today is a Monday and they're mowing.
They overmow. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the kids say that.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's overmowing.
Look at that try hard over mowing.
That's such a thirst trap. I don't even fucking know. This is why we shouldn't talk like the kids.
I know. That's such a thirst trap. They need Gatorade, not even regular water. That's what a thirst trap it is. I think we're coining new phrases just right and left.
I think the phrase coining a phrase is very old. I don't even think we can say that anymore.
We can't.
In my day,
We used to coin phrases and we liked it.
daylight saving time.
Daylight saving time.
And we're done.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are you for it?
Are you for it? At this point, it's whatever. If it goes through, it goes through. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I do feel bad for the kids who are having to. I don't want to see bad things happen to kids in the dark.
As opposed to the people who do. Well, Robin, that's quite a stand you just took there.
Yeah.
Wanting the kids not to have bad things happen to them. Well, I'm not a fan of a kid waiting at a bus stop in the dark. The thing is, though, we went trick-or-treating in the dark because it was dark at 4:30 on Halloween in New York.
Yeah, but wasn't that more of a choice and you got candy? You weren't.
Yeah, and we were more concerned with getting run over because our masks were not set to give us any peripheral. Because that little plastic mask with the teeny tiny slits for eye holes with that rubber band around the back of your head that was cut into your scalp.
Yep.
Couldn't see a damn thing with those things. That's why we preferred to put a pillowcase over our heads with the holes cut out. Wasn't any better.
Well, your mother could have had you wear the neon gear. So
That shit didn't exist when I was coming up.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Neon gear.
Well, then I was thinking maybe if the government does have daylight savings time as it being their time, maybe they could also donate to every school child reflective gear.
That would be a good one. That's like putting more security in the school instead of getting rid of the guns. Oh, I went there.
You went there.
I just don't make the kids go. If your classes start at 7 a.m. and it's dark, make them 7:30. There's no rule about what time school starts. Wait for there to be light.
Okay.
And if the bus has to pick up 100 kids because there's only 3 buses in town, stagger the start time.
Think of all the merchandise who were selling reflective gear that could have got a government contract under my plan. But no, you're like, let's be sensible and start a half hour later.
No, they should be selling that to the bikers anyway. It's fine. Just give it to the bikers and the walkers and the people I almost hit every day when I drive home and it's dark. And I'm like, the fuck? Why are you walking your dog in the pitch black? What are you doing?
I know black is slimming, but put your reflective gear on. It's
Being
dusk.
Being dead is super slimming too.
Yeah. Saves lots of money on meals. Put your reflective gear on if you're out in the dark, people.
It's important.
It is.
And look, this is just, a little taste of what's coming because we're going to have a Halloween episode. So we just gave you a little taste of what we're going to talk about. Nope, because if we're going to have a Halloween episode, we're probably going to talk about shoes. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but we don't know how to stay on topic.
So, guys, during Halloween, look for an episode of Scooch Ovaries that has nothing to do with trick-or-treating, candy, or fun times.
No, it's going to be about the Dow Jones average and, haircuts.
Yeah.
Haircut trends. Because you and I are always like, oh, my God, what's hot with the haircuts? Because you and I both decided at about 16 what our haircut was. And that'll do.
Well, speaking for myself, I think you have more moldability with your hair, but my hair's so curly it doesn't do a whole lot but what it's just doing on my head right now.
Well, it's basically clay. And I'm just getting it all set so when I put it in the kiln and then I can put the glaze on. What? Moldability?
Well, I feel like my hair is so curly it can only be curly, but I feel like your hair can be like blown out, or you can keep it kind of curly. I feel like you've got a little bit malleable. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
That's a good word too. I do always lean into the frizz though. That seems to be the choice for me. It's frizzy. Great. I did start using conditioner more often. Seems like a thing to do.
You should have always used conditioner.
Yeah, so most of my friends keep telling me that and I'm like, oh, I don't like the flyaways. They're like, what? No. Because in New York, I always had flyaways, but it's not dry enough here to have flyaways. I could use conditioner every time I shampoo. I wasn't. Look, we all learn as we go. I go to Sarah. I always have to buy shampoo. I run out before I run out of conditioner. She says, what's going on? What are you doing? Are you not using the conditioner? I'm like, no. So you have to use the conditioner.
My conditioner to shampoo is probably one shampoo will last me, and then I've got to get 3 different conditioners throughout my bottle of shampoo. Like I over condition way more than I shampoo.
Oh, I'm making a lot of mistakes in my choices.
I mean, but look at my hair. Like, are you really going to try to achieve this top?
I love curly hair. I think curly hair is cool.
Well, I appreciate it, but I guess my thing is during our Halloween episode when we talk about trendy hairstyles, mine's just the curly, either the long curly or the short curly. Or one day I'm going to have a little cotton top curl that my mother and my grandmother and my aunts have.
And in an earlier episode, you had a very specific name for them. What did you call it?
Cotton top.
Keep going.
Cotton top head.
Poof.
Oh, yeah, little poof, little cotton top poof. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had another word that started with an F for it, like a froof or something.
Floof?
Yes. What? Yeah. A poof and a floof.
One of these days when we get super famous, we need one of these people who keeps track of what we've already talked about, and then they'll do a buzzer. They'll be like, nope, can't talk about cotton ball hair. That was episode number 4.
That's so cute that you have that dream.
Have someone to keep us honest.
Yeah.
And then we'll like, well, we don't really have anything else to talk about. We got Mary's OCD. We got my floofy hair. What else is there?
And then, well, we're not going to get famous, Robin, though. You do know that.
Smartless got $500 million. New Heights is getting $100 million. Who's to say we can't, Scooch Ovaries can't make 6-7 figures?
It'd be great if we could get a dozen listeners. I say let's shoot lower. No, shoot for the sky. I mean, shoot for the stars, as Robin Leach would say, or Casey Kasem, or one of those dead guys. One of them said it. I think it's important to definitely shoot high. I hope for the best as well.
Yes.
I don't know, as long as we can get health insurance. That's important. Can we get health insurance with that?
That I don't know. I was just wanting to get a lady to keep track of how many times we repeat ourselves.
So I could actually do that. I could start a spreadsheet, but I'm not gonna, because my spreadsheets are for more important things like how old was everybody when they died? Nope.
Oh my. Yeah, so we were preparing, and we actually do prepare for Scooch Ovaries, and Mary has her phone out.
I don't think they believe you.
I don't think you believe it. We really do. And Mary had her phone out, and she showed me a spreadsheet she made of the deaths in her immediate family. So that is being very efficient and mindful.
And I think you used a word that I need to remember. I believe it was ruminate.
Yes.
And you didn't mean that in a positive way. It's a kind of like an obsessive kind of thing.
It is. And the reason I said that is because I myself have a tendency to ruminate. And then I just heard something about how you need to get the psych out. If you're like in the ruminating loop, if you're just worrying about something over and over, that's not really good for your mental health. So you need to, if you start to feel yourself ruminate, maybe take a walk or do something that's not looping the thing that's making you mad over and over.
I think the kids call it disassociate.
Okay.
And I do walk away from it. I just like that because sometimes, every once in a while, 3-4 times a day, and there's an opportunity for me to talk about my dead relatives. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Look at that. Didn't anticipate that happening for a 4th time today. Here we go. Oh, Mary, you lost a lot of people. How old were they? Oh, wait, well, let me get out the chart. Look, I hear it. I know. I see it. Self-awareness doesn't bring the correction. Self-awareness brings self-awareness.
Well, and there's nothing. Everyone who passed you love very much, and you cared about very much, and we're all mortal beings, and so sort of having anxiety around mortality is absolutely a natural thing. You're just the first person I know who actually has a spreadsheet and keeps it on their phone of your family's mortality.
But doctor, is there a medication I could take that would help me? No, we're anti-drug.
Are we? I kid.
No, it's hey, I don't think that's a podcast topic. It's more like a therapy session topic. But isn't this just therapy anyway, this podcast?
It kind of is. For you and I, it is. For the people listening, it might be like, should we call like help for these two ladies?
And I don't think of it as oversharing. I call it sharing. I do want to share something really funny that I heard yesterday, though, which is going to sound not funny. NPR did a news story about the hold music for the suicide hotline.
Oh.
And it was a fascinating story. And it was how they did all these surveys to try to find out what kind of music they should have. And they had this lady on talking about it. And it was really funny. And it turned out that there was a time when people would call a previous version of the suicide hotline and they would hang up because there was nothing that was letting them feel comforted or welcome or safe. And now they've done studies and figured it out. And now they're bringing on a voice on a regular basis to say, please do not hang up. We'll have someone for you very soon. We care about you. Hold on a little bit longer. And they're doing things like that with the recordings. And then they found a music that works. They studied it and they found it really
fascinating.
Yeah, the story was mind-blowing and it was done in a humorous way, so I enjoyed the story even more.
Yes, I feel like that's been a topic for like stand-up comedy before. It almost sounds like a Dangerfield, like, hey, no respect, even the suicide hotline put me on hold.
All day, and yeah, and and when I started my other podcast, Contrary Gardens, since I had started it, the number became released, and it was a big news story that the suicide hotline was now 988, and people were becoming aware of it. And I was telling everybody I knew, every time, those 3-4 times a day when I talked about my dead relatives, I said, by the way, I'm kidding. Look, just a disclaimer, I people who know me know how I am, and I'm really fine. I really am. I talk about stuff that you may find uncomfortable and weird. I find it makes me feel better when I talk about the stuff. It takes the power away from it. Cats.
Yes. I have 4.
That's a lot of cats.
It is. Cats have gotten a lot of attention lately because there was talk about childless cat ladies. And I have children. And I also have cats. I've got 2 children and 4 cats. And you know what? I feel like I'm a pretty decent person, with or without children, with or without cats. They're all 6 of them are my babies, and I love them.
You wouldn't use the word miserable to describe yourself?
No, I love
wouldn't either.
My cats so much. I originally didn't want to have 4 cats. I don't think anyone ever wants to have any cats. But here I am with 4 cats, and they all have names. They all have personalities. They all have little places in my heart.
I believe that people rescue dogs and purchase dogs, and people acquire cats. Or cats acquire people? Maybe I should put it that way.
Yes, the cat distribution center is alive and well. That's what in the cat community was we call getting cats.
So you never went to go get a cat?
I did the first 2. So
wasn't it a rescue situation?
There was 2 that were a rescue situation. We had cats for a long time. We had 2 very old cats for a long time, and it was I who had to put them in their final resting place. That sounds bad. I had to put them to the vets and have them put to sleep because they were getting very old and
Where's
sick.
the spreadsheet?
Where's the spreadsheet? There's no spreadsheet.
I remember you always saying how important your cats were to you and how much you loved them. And I'd say, really, which one's your favorite? And you'd say the white one. And I always thought, I feel like it should have a name. And that wasn't like a racist thing. It was just the way you said it.
Well, her name was Cue Ball. She was a white cat. And Cue Ball. And then the other one was Ebony. We called her Miss Ebby. And she was a little Manx cat. She just had a little baby tail. And she was the sweetest cat in the whole wide world.
She was.
And then I was really heartbroken. And you know me, I'm not very like emotional. Like my sentimentality, even if I feel it, it doesn't like bubble to the top. And so I was really heartbroken about having to deal with these cats and have the cats put to sleep. So I said, hey, no more cats. Because my kids at this point were teenagers. And I was like, no more cats. You know, when you get to be adults, you want to have pets. That's fine. Well, then the pandemic came around and it was kind of sad times. And I was like, you know what would make everything happy? Kittens. So
You could have made a lasagna. That worked for me.
We got 2 kittens and then that was going to be it. And then 2 years later, my husband came home because he found 2 cats like on Hillsborough Avenue. Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa is this massive, big road. And he didn't have the heart to like not stop. And so I said, okay, we're going to foster these cats and then give them away.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That's
and
not going to happen.
For 3 weeks, my son raised the cats in his room because he's got like a bathroom attached to his room. And so, because the cats were so little, we didn't want them to get out. We kind of put them in the shower in his bathroom. And I'm not going to tell, I think he was 16 at the time, like, hey, you've put so much love and care into these cats. We're just going to give them away. So now I got 4 cats.
And what are their names, Robin?
Well, the Stripes, who we originally got, my daughter named one Professor, and she is very well educated. The other one's named Tyson. These are all women cats. My son named him Tyson.
I feel like you say female cat.
Female
If you want to say women cat, go ahead, embold them.
But then, but then it always sounds like, oh, Tyson, that sounds like a boy's name.
Yeah.
So I call her Tyson Louise.
Or chicken.
Yeah, or Tyson Chicken.
Yeah.
But just like if we have people over and they're like, oh, Tyson, he needs to come over here. I suddenly go, Tyson Louise, you come over here, lady. So gave her a middle name. Then the 2 rescue cats, one because it was on Hillsborough Avenue, we named one Burrow, and then the other one was named Lucky, like, oh, it's lucky to be alive.
That's cool.
And it's a black cat named Lucky. And
I love that.
It's part devil. But every cat like has a human that it chooses, and Lucky chose my daughter, and my daughter's currently away at school, and I could tell it's kind of taken a toll on Lucky because she's actually being nice to the rest of the family members.
Yeah, Lucky's not feeling so lucky.
Yeah, Lucky's very clingy, and when she had my daughter around, they would, snuggle and stuff, and now Lucky's like sitting on my lap, which she doesn't normally. So.
Well, that'll work out in the end because you like cats.
Oh, I love cats. And yeah. Professor is kind of my cat, and she's very fluffy, and she's a good little gal.
Now, I always mix up which school is which. Which one did the professor go to? Was it USF or UF?
She was more of an Ivy Leaguer, Professor was.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, she teaches some adjunct classes, but it just, there's a lot of stress. And I think she's part Maine Coon, and she wants to eat all of the time. So you don't have time to grade papers if you're always begging your mama for canned cat food.
What makes you think this cat is smart?
She's a professor.
Okay. Is it just the appearance of smart? Or does she do something smart?
She, when she was real little, she had fluff coming out of her ears. Uh-huh. And my daughter thought it was funny because she looked like an old man who has not
Ear
the
hair.
Simpsons, the other one about the space and the guy.
Remy?
It's one of those things. I know it all the time, and they watch it all the time. Futurama. There was a professor in Futurama who had hair coming out of his ears. So she named him Professor out of the professor from Futurama because she had fluff coming out of her ears.
But doesn't the professor have a much longer official name?
Yeah, Professor Farnsworth something. So, but sometimes we call her Pro.
Isn't there a Penelope somewhere? No?
That could have been.
No.
The lady with the one eye, I think her name was Fry, and the one who Katie Segal from Married with Children is the voice of the lady with the one eye.
I don't watch Futurama.
Okay, well, my kids.
It might as well be football.
Okay.
Professor Tyson
Louise, Burrow, but we kind of call Burrow Blue because she's a big black cat. So most of the time we don't call them by their given names. And then Lucky, I usually call her Luckford or Lucifer or Lil Lucky because she's got issues, Lucky.
Everybody I know and every podcast I listen to that has women on it that have cats, and the women I know that have cats, all my friends, no one calls their cat by the cat's name. There's like 10 nicknames. Mm-hmm. What is going on with that?
I don't know. It's like when you have a baby. Like most of the time, you know me with my kids. Most of the time, I don't call my kids like their Christian names. Like most of the time, I'll call them, like I used to call my daughter Squirrel.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You called your son the boy.
The boy, yeah, the squirrel and the boy. Sometimes we call our daughter the girl. I'm trying to think with nicknames for my son. A lot of it's the boy.
I always thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
How's Katie doing? Great. And the boy? Good. Like, I never was like, can't we just say Joel?
Yeah. Or I call him Jolie Poly Guacamole, or I just call him Jolie. And so, yeah, they all have nicknames.
They're all adults.
Yeah, they're all adults. I don't know if we've gone over this before, but in our family, we tend to call everyone who the children call. So, yeah, I think we went over this before.
Yeah, but go over it again. It's been a while.
Yeah. My mother, everyone calls her Nemo, so now I call her Nemo. My high school friends, I call them Aunt whoever.
Aunt TT.
Aunt TT, Aunt Bessie. And we are full-blown adults, and we still call each other Aunt. Does your family do that? Do you know?
Max calls her Margaret, and our great niece, our great nieces, she's having them call her Yaya.
Okay. That seems very Greek, and you guys aren't a Greek family.
Nope, we're not.
Yeah,
No, we're
that's
not.
a cool name,
As
though.
we went over in our heritage episode.
That's right. That's you guys at this point. You've already listened to it.
Are you guys listening? I wonder if they're listening.
Are you listening in order? Because, like, what if you hear this and then you hear the heritage? You're gonna be so confused. It's got to be in order.
You know what's great? It doesn't have to be in any. You don't even have to listen to the episode in order. There's no rhyme or reason. You can come in the middle and be like, "Oh, this episode they're talking about football. The fuck is this?" Again with the suicide hotline.
It doesn't seem like really either one of them know a whole lot about football, but the one yapping on about one team, so I guess that makes you an expert.
That was the last episode.
That was.
It was very fun to make last week.
And we know it's last week because our shirts are different.
Our shirts are different.
Oh, we both got blue on. I didn't notice.
Oh, look at that. Well, you know, it was my favorite color from age 24 to 37.
In fact, that's the reason you got married is because people told you blue was your favorite color.
Oh, I guess I'll get married.
I guess I'll get married because that's how lifetime commitments work.
Listen to episode 9 to make sense of that. I think that was episode 9.
So you are here and in this apartment, and you have no pets. Do you think you'll ever plan on getting a pet?
There are days when I think maybe someday I'll move and maybe I'll get a pet, and then then I sober up. I'm kidding. I didn't really do that, but someday I wouldn't mind terribly having a dog if I don't have a job or a lot of responsibility.
Would you get a big dog, little dog?
No, we get a medium-sized dog.
Okay.
Like 15, 20 pounds. Is that considered medium?
Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah. I don't want a horse. I don't want a rat. So obviously, you can tell I'm a big dog fan. I don't want a horse. I don't want a rat.
Is there a particular breed of dog that you like better than others?
Mutts are always the best. I'm a big fan of the mutt. And it's going to sound weird because they're not popular, but we had a terrier growing up, and she was nothing like a terrier. She was really more like a Sheltie. But Pal was great. Yeah. Was Pal a boy? God damn. That's bad. Moggy, Pal was a boy. Oops, yeah, Pal was a boy. Yeah, Rags was a girl, Pal was a boy. Look, back then, we didn't do the pronouns with the pets.
Rags, that's a great dog name.
I wanted to name her Meatball, but my dad said, no, we're going with Rags.
Meatball's a pretty good dog name, too.
Yeah, they were both good names, I thought. I ended up with Rags at the end because everybody moved.
Oh, so then you were Rags' owner.
Mary, you'll take the dog. I'm like, what's happening now? You like Blue, you're getting married, you're taking the dog.
You're taking the dog, and it's going to be named Rags, not Meatball.
Wait, I get to live in an illegal basement in Queens? Fuck yeah, let's go. This is the sweet ride I was hoping for.
Living the dream in a basement in Queens.
So glad I dropped out of art school and went to church. I could have known I was a lesbian so many different times. Softball kicked me off. I quit art school. 2 great opportunities to figure out who I really was. But let's run from that. And maybe listen to some Amy Grant.
It made you who you are today, sitting here on a podcast in your own room.
No Rugrats.
No Rugrats. No pets.
No, but I think the love of cats has been something you've had your whole life.
Yes. My first cat was a Siamese cat. It was fat, and his name was Gato. So.
Did you ever have a dog?
Yes. So I lived on a farm and we had farm dogs. And then later on, we had one dog, but then my mom kind of ended up taking over. And she was very close with that dog. It was like a little poodle type dog. And its name was Susie. And I got it for a birthday, but my mom ended up just falling in love with the dog and taking care of the dog.
Cool. Where did the name Gato come from for the cat?
It's, hey, guys out there listening, write this down. It's another Spanish word. Gato means cat.
Does it really?
Yeah, I thought you were being silly.
Oh, no, I took French.
Oh, okay.
I got nothing.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you what cat is in French either. I can tell you it's snowing, though. Il neige.
Je m'appelle Robin, ça va?
Okay. Je m'appelle Marie.
Je vais à la plage. That means I'm going to the beach.
Wow.
That's the only thing I remember.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember.
That sounded good. You know what I can say? Portrait de la vie en veau, my favorite movie. Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh, okay.
Everything else is just what's my name and it's snowing.
Yeah, je m'appelle Robin. Ça va is my name's Robin. How are you? And you could have said, oui, ça va. Et toi? And I was like, oh, comme ci, comme ça.
Is that French too? Comme ci, comme ça?
Comme ci, comme ça.
I forget that that's French. Baguette.
You
Croissant.
know, one of my pet peeves is, because I know so little of French, is when people try to say comme ci, comme ça, but they say, comme ci, comme ça. No.
Who's doing that? Who have you met that did that?
Someone in Missouri, okay?
Some ignorant fuck.
Comme ci, comme ça. That's not a thing. What? It's putting way too many syllables in comme ci, comme ça.
No, that feels like a song. Comme ci, comme ça. That's not that Lionel Richie song.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, yeah.
No, I can't have a conversation in any language but English, and even that's trying sometimes. It's a little tricky at times. But that was impressive. You sounded like you really knew French.
No, I only know like 3 phrases.
That's all you need. You know what I can say in Spanish?
What's that?
Oh, wait, I don't know how to do it as a sentence, but it's baño means bathroom.
Oh, yeah,
And
baño.
cerveza means beer.
I know a little bit of Spanish just from living in Florida for so long, and our next door neighbors are Spanish, and they're very close with my family. So I probably should know more Spanish than I do, but when they talk, I can kind of, like when they say like, oh, niños, I know they're asking about my children. I know abuelo versus abuela. We've already just.
Yeah.
I feel like there's only so much information I have in my brain, and then I just loop it back around.
And that's fine. That's how brains work. You know, that's what we do. I had something and now it's gone. That ever happened to you?
All the time. All the time.
That ever happened to you? I kind of want to find it. I feel like it was funny.
Was it about French or Spanish or?
I don't know. No, it was about, I know what it was. I can speak Florida. I know the one phrase that will raise your expectations and then have them come crashing down. When you ask someone a question and they answer you in Florida, like, hey, do you know where the new Publix is? My answer would be, I sure don't. Why the fuck would you get my hopes up? I sure don't. What? And no one's doing anything, but they're fixing to.
Oh, yeah. Fixing to.
It's down the road a piece.
Yeah, I think that's very Southern. I mean, you know,
It's not Florida, it's Southern.
Yeah, it's Southern. Fixing to, and oh gosh, I used to work with someone who did something similar to that. Like, now I can't think of it, but it was sort of the same thing. I sure don't. It was like positive and negative. Like, mustn't. I'll think about it once we're off the air. But
Well, it's like, see you tomorrow. If the creek don't rise, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? No, that's actually topical now.
if the creek don't.
If Manatee River doesn't rise, it's like if the creek don't rise.
If the creek don't rise, then the frogs don't crow.
The frogs are crowing?
I guess so.
We should leave. The frogs are turning into birds.
They are.
Something's gone terribly wrong.
I guess the frogs croak.
They do. Cats.
They're mama's sweeties. They're mama's babies.
Okay, we're gonna get controversial. You ready? Which one's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite, but I'm probably I'm probably closest to Professor because Professor loves me, and Tyson Louise. I feel like Tyson Louise is a little distant, but she does kind of always sit near me. Lucky's definitely my daughter's cat, and Blue is like she's a boy's cat. Like she's a lady, but she's a big cat, and she likes to play fetch even though she's a cat, and then she
What?
likes it when like the boys wrestle her. So Blue's more of a boy's cat, and Professor's very dainty. She's my lady.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Not creepy at all. You do love cats.
I do. I do.
How do you feel about the musical?
I first went and saw it when I was 18. My grandmother took me to New York and I didn't understand it. And I remember in the intermission, I told my dad, because my dad was with me, I said, this doesn't make sense. And he goes, well, it's about a book of poetry. And then I didn't mind it the second time because I was like, oh, I was expecting to try to figure out a plot point and then beginning, middle, and end. And then I saw the movie and I know it got panned, but like this was 20 years later. And I was like, oh, it's about a book of poetry. I'll give it a shot. I honestly kind of liked it. And then it got panned. And then I went again to see it. It was at the Straz, not in the movie, but I went to see the actual like musical play and I liked it. So all in all, I would give Cats a thumbs up. Do you like Cats? I mean, the musical Cats.
I've never seen the musical. I never saw the movie. I know the songs. I've escaped it, like other things. There's certain things I've never seen. Friday Night Lights,
Oh, no.
Cats.
You're preaching to the choir. I haven't seen probably, like you've probably forgotten more movies than I've actually seen. Like I'm not a big movie person.
And I love that because a million years ago I worked in a job in my early 20s as a bookkeeper. And I was an assistant bookkeeper. And the main bookkeeper, she was fine. Sometimes she felt a little threatened by me. And maybe I had a little chip on my shoulder. But I feel like it didn't really come out a lot in my 20s. I think I was still kind of shy back then. But she would always look at me and say, I forgot more about bookkeeping than you'll ever learn. And I thought, my God.
Well, she sounds like a real positive role model for you.
She's one of those ladies that would light her camel and then do that thing where you take a puff and then she'd take her fingers and pick that little piece of tobacco off her tongue that came out because it was unfiltered. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, this is when you could smoke in the office building.
Oh, she and I and another lady, three of us, sat in a cube, probably not a lot bigger than this, much half the size of this room. Mm-hmm. The three of us sat at desks, and she and I both smoked.
Oh.
Inside.
Oh.
And the other lady was like 80.
Yeah.
And she was Gilbert Gottfried's aunt.
Oh, no kidding.
But they were estranged.
Oh.
Because people are people.
Yeah.
How could it be? You and I should get along so
Easily.
awesomely. Is it easily?
Easily. Yeah.
Easily?
You obviously hate me, but I don't know what.
You said you didn't listen to alternative music.
Yeah, I like this. I like that song. Yeah, the very first office job I ever had, it was in the early 90s, and they, like a couple years into it, they made everyone smoke outside, and you would think they were asking people to like take off like their finger digits. They were like, what? No! And the rest of us who didn't smoke were like, yeah, no, it's really gross. Like, we don't, this is our job. And you're like lining up next to us. So, but that was like a big thing when they were like,
Yeah.
you cannot ask us to smoke outside. Well, we just did. So,
A fun response was everybody saying, I don't smoke, but I want my breaks. I'm like, shut up. It's fine. I turned on a movie the other day just for fun, just to see if I could handle it. Because like every movie that was ever made, they've made sequels and remakes. They've run out of ideas, and now they just keep continuing to remake them. So a million years ago, in 1979, a movie called Alien came out.
oh, okay.
Followed by Aliens, and then, I don't know, 8 other versions of it. And
The
now
Sigourney Weaver movie.
Yes, and now another one's coming out. And the second one was really fun, and that's my favorite one. But the first one, I'm watching the movie, and they're asleep. And then they're woken up because it's, when you're traveling a long way in space, they put your body to sleep, and then you wake up, and then you go about your business because you're getting close to Earth. So you're going to wake up soon. Like they put you in a forced sleep, like a coma. So everybody wakes up and they're eating, and they were smoking. 2 of the characters were smoking in a spaceship in the future. Like, this was 1979. They thought in all of the computers were green.
Yeah.
Everything was still green. And it was all like lasers and shit. It was like, oh God, this did not age well. And then at one point they open up one of the doors of a spaceship. And this was in the second one at the beginning. And they wipe the ice off. And I'm like, I don't think there's condensation like that in this particular situation. But I'm not a scientist. But the smoking on the spaceship in 1979, it was amazing to me. And they kept talking about the coffee, and I'm like, this is so fucking dated.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess they thought in the future people would smoke as they did in the day. No.
Oh my God. It's so funny though, to think that it wasn't going to eventually go out of fashion.
Yeah.
79, it was like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the peak of the smoking in
Yeah.
79. Because it wasn't until the 90s that they started like making at least indoor smoking
Oh
illegal.
no, it's bad for you. Like, dude. No, my mom woke up from labor and they brought her a pot of coffee and said, "What brand of cigarettes do you smoke?" The world was crazy.
Yeah.
That was nutty.
Yeah.
Look, we've covered enough.
We have. We've covered a lot.
I feel like this is almost like a bonus episode. You want to do our segments that aren't segments?
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. We've been talking for so long. We've gone into the next day. My segments that didn't quite make it as a segment is why do martinis get their own glasses? Do you think you are martinis?
Well, they can't see. They go to the oncologist and oh, you mean the shape?
Yeah. Martinis need contact lenses.
Well, I had a family down the street named the Martinis, and they all had glasses. I don't know what happened. It's a segment.
It's
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It didn't make it as a segment. Do you have any segments that didn't make it as a segment?
I do, and it might sound like a one I did in the past, but I don't care. This segment is called Cats. Why?
How dare you, ma'am? It's called Love. That's why. Love and affection.
I did learn one thing about cats that I want to share with you. When you are pretending to be a cat and you want to meow and make a sound like a cat, you don't say the M.
Oh. Have you, when it gets nice out and I open up the windows and my cats see like squirrels and birds and lizards and stuff, they go. If you get a cat real riled up, they just click. They don't even like meow. They go,
They do?
yeah, it's really pretty.
Gorgeous.
Okay.
Set it to music. I'm sorry. A segment that didn't make it to be a segment.
My final segment that didn't make it to be a segment was WD 1 through 39 defective?
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all like, oh, WD 40. What happened to 1 through 39? Is there a documentary about that? Huh?
Yeah, Michael Moore did it. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like WD 27 was just glue, and they're like, "Oh, this made the problem like twice as worse."
There's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
There is a factory filled with 1 through 39.
yeah, somewhere.
These are fine lubricants. No,
No.
they're not meeting the threshold that we demand of WD-40. I got one. You ready?
Yes.
I've heard of urban legends. Mm-hmm. What about suburban legends?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think they would have like HOA fees, and it's too costly for.
Well, cul-de-sacs.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like the legends would have to all be painted either like sandstone or like tan. It's too much.
This has been a pleasure, Robin Savage.
It has been a pleasure.
Do you think the folks will come back?
I sure hope so.
And what is it called if they do come back?
Scooch Ovaries!